Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. And today we are again going to discuss a very important concept in C++, which will help us. So this is nothing but pass by value versus pass by reference. Let us first state a problem statement and then we will see how we can solve it. There are various methods we can solve it and we will pick the one which is best. So the problem statement is that given, let's say we are given a vector v and we need to change all of its element in some way. Like let's say we have to increase all the elements of vector by x and return the value and return the vector v. So this is my question. So I have vector v 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 5 and let's say int x equal to 2. I want to pass it to some function, let us say v, and I want to do some operations such that I want to pass v and x, both of them, such that after getting passed to the function, the vector, and when I print a vector, it should have x. Uh, Wait a second. Yeah, it should have x added to each of the elements. So the vector should look like 3, 3, 4, 5, 7. Okay. So there are two ways in which we can accomplish this. The first one I'll show. So let's say if we have something like this, what would happen if I have func vector int v int x I equal to 0 and less than v dot size vi equals vi plus x. What do you think would happen? Pause the video and think for it. So I hope you would have paused the video and given it some thought. So since this vector is getting passed by value in this function, the changes that we make here in this vector are not going to be reflected here. So let's try to run this and see it in action. So if you see the vector, even though we change the vector here, the values do not change in the main function because we are printing in the main function. Let's try to print it here too. Int I equal to 0, I less than v dot size, I plus plus. V of I. Okay, let me do an end of line so that it does not become unclear. So if you see inside, this is the first time this is printed, 3, 4, 5, 7. This is inside the function, and in the main function, this does not get reflected. Okay, so why does this happen? Uh, since our vector is getting passed by value here, the changes that we do in this function are local to this function. All this function will have a local copy of this vector v. The main function will have a separate local copy. So one thing which we can do is we can have a return type of vector int, and in the end we can just return v. Okay, and here we can just replace v with whatever modified this function is going to return. So this function is going to return the modified value of v. So we'll see this. Okay, yeah, so we're not going to declare it again. Okay, so you can see that the function modifies the vector and it returns the vector v, and we catch the vector v, and the value is getting changed in the main function too. Okay, So I'll tell you why this method is not preferred or it is discouraged. So you can see that the vector v here is getting passed by value, and passing by value is discouraged because it is computationally expensive and it is a waste of resource. You are basically passing objects. Now imagine instead of this int, we had large and complex object, like if it was a vector of nodes, and that node would have be containing multiple data types. Like let's say if we have something like struct node and it had like 5-10 data types, right? And this was a vector of node. So we would be copying this vector of node, and then again while returning we would be copying it. So returning is nothing but we are copying this whole vector again into this vector, right? So there are two copies which we want to avoid. Okay, so what we can do instead is we can try to pass, we can do make this function void, and we can pass this by reference. So how does this work? Let's see. Let's see what would happen first. Okay, wait. Uh, we don't need to return this, and I hope you can see the whole code. What happened? Okay, yeah, not return the. So you can see that we are not returning the vector v, and we are changing the vector v in this function, and it is getting reflected in the main function too. So how does this happen? So this happens because we are passing the vector by reference. So when we are passing the vector by reference, it actually changes the vector in memory, and it does not copy the values, it copies the reference to the vector. Okay, so yeah, this was it, and I hope this was helpful. So there is a small homework for you guys, and I would want you to solve it. Let me put it here. Let me first clean this up. uh, if you understand pass by reference and recursion, this would be very easy, and this would be very helpful for you to solidify your concepts. Let us say, okay, let me just first write it. Okay, so let's say uh, this is my function, and for an answer, and answer dot size vector int answer 1 recursive 1. I'll write what recursive 1 is. c1 answer 1 dot size. Okay, so let me just copy this. In the recursive one, the only difference is that we are passing the vector by reference. Okay, so you have to find out what will be the value. So if you can see the recursive function, let's name it recursive 1, and this as recursive 2, otherwise it will get confusing. Okay, so we have two recursive functions, recursive 1 and recursive 2, and in recursive 1 and recursive 2 are both doing the same thing. So it is pushing, in recursive 1 we are passing the vector by value, and it is pushing the answer, pushing the current ith value to the vector answer, and then it is calling the uh, with I minus 1 value. Okay, so I am doing, so initially I am initializing answer 1 as like this, and then answer 2 like. Okay, so you need to tell me the what will be the value of answer 1 dot size and answer 2 dot size. If you have any doubt in recursion, you can ask me, because if you solve it, you will clear both the concept of recursion as well as pass by reference. You will see that how pass by reference is so much useful in this case. If you're not able to solve it, that's fine. I will be anyway be explaining this in a follow-up video. Oh, I hope this was helpful to you guys in some way. Thanks. Goodbye. Take care. I'll upload this video in next 10 to 15 minutes. Goodbye.